Hey guys, it's your girl Natural. Welcome back to my channel. I'm so happy you're here. So we have to talk about Real Housewives season 15, episode 6. Got my notes here, guys. I felt like this episode was a PR episode for Kandi. I'm so I'm really not trying to shade anybody, but it just seems like over the years, Kandi has risen to the level of just like, I guess, the Real Housewives of Atlanta OG. You know, she seems like she has garnered that alpha woman status, you know. And with Marlo coming in, I think just in defense of Marlo, because I kind of am on Marlo's side on this. I'm kind of on both of their sides with this whole thing. But I think that truly Marlo was just looking for some genuine human compassion. Not something that sounds like a statement from a lawyer, not something that sounds like a statement from an attorney, not something that sounds like, someone who's stonewalling, but just like genuine, oh my goodness, I'm so sorry to hear that, bringing over food, like chatting through stuff, asking her how she's doing. But, at the same time, I think it is on Marlo to know that she shouldn't expect that from Kandi. Kandi is, I think she can be that type of person with some people, but I think that she and Marlo are just both too hood for that. Like, so seriously. I think they just too hood for that, child. But anyway, let's just kind of like talk about what actually happened in the episode, and then I'll kind of give you my final thoughts or whatever. So the episode starts off with some footage from 2020, basically where Kandi is saying, oh, Marlo, people shouldn't judge Marlo for what she's done in her past, etc., etc. But I know from watching season 14 and season 15 kind of in one stretch that there has been many moments where Kandi has put out shots towards Marlo about her past, about slashing someone's face and all of this stuff. And it was 23 years ago, and we can clearly see that Marlo has grown so much. She's not that person anymore. Possibly she couldn't have, she possibly wasn't that person back then. She could have been being swayed by what was going on in her personal life. People could have been putting that aggressive, violent, angry black woman trope on her like society always does. And maybe, sometimes black women will actually go ahead and believe it and carry out that aggressive, angry black woman trope because people call you something so long, you might start to believe that's who you are. But God gives us second chances, and I would hope that Kandi would see that. But I think that she is trying very, very hard to, compartmentalize. I think she's trying very hard to compartmentalize personal from professional, and she just won't. She won't allow herself to go there. And I think Marlo was saying, please go there, and it just didn't happen. So we definitely go through the episode. We see Marlo being hurt by this. We also remember in the background that there is this rift between Marlo and Drew because of that night where Drew were going in at each other. That's like in the background. It's the back burner. My thoughts on that is, it's like power brokers. You know how power brokers will literally attract people who want power. It's like that. It's like that with the Real Housewives when there's one alpha. And Kandi is definitely trying to mark herself, or at least is marking herself as the alpha. And so I feel like Drew is falling into the trap of what many new housewives do, of just trying to sort of suck up, maybe try to suck up a little bit to Kandi, and it's making her look a little spineless. And I think that Marlo sees that, because no matter what you say about Marlo, you can't say that she's not her own woman. Even if she has a stance that is so unpopular, she's just like, that's what I believe and that's what it is, and people can't change that. You might think that she and Kandi are cut from the same cloth, but I think that Kandi is much more like stoic. I think she's more stoic, and she really, like I said, wants to set that boundary between personal and professional. And then you have Kenya. So Kenya's building this hair salon, which, is it Versailles or is it hair salon? I just feel like Atlanta, I grew up in Atlanta, and one of the things about Atlanta is it's full of haters. And I think that, especially the black community, I feel like it's so positive in the way that there's so many black people on their boss game. They're building up their business. They're going in hard. They're supporting each other. But I think that there's also this nasty side, and I don't know where, maybe it's coming from the days of slavery. I talk about, the effects of slavery and the day and age that we live in. I don't know. But there's also this very toxic competition that exists among, especially the black elite in Atlanta. Just knowing from, my family was quite middle class, but I grew up around these people. And there's this toxic competition that can rear its ugly head. And it's the type of thing that might stop people from going all the way in on their goals and their dreams. We're going to talk about that a little bit with Drew with the next episode, not with this one, but I just see Kenya building up this salon, and it gives me the Kenya Moore hair care parade vibes, just in a salon form, Kenya, I think she goes over the top with her behavior, and sometimes with trying to show off whatever it is, because she's overcompensating for the wounds that she has inside. I think Shereé can do the same thing. You know how long it took Shereé. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry, Shereé. You know how long it took to build Shadow Shereé. It's like, yeah. I just feel like in Atlanta, sometimes people can have the tendency to get caught up in all their own things instead of just going in for what their dreams are. Even if it's not the most glittery, glamsy, glitzy, gold, thing. Even if it's just something that you're proud of. You guys saw when Drew went on stage with her friend and she sang for not very long, albeit, I get it. She was only on stage for a minute, But they really kind of broke her down in subtle ways about that. They didn't say, wow, amazing, I'm so happy for you. It wasn't like that. They said that, but there had to be a but. And I just really hope that Atlanta, it has so much potential. They say that it's like the Los Angeles of the South, and it really is. I just hope that, and it doesn't just happen in the black community. This happens all over. But it's just something that I think I kind of have, I have seen and I've thought of that, but to each his own, to each his opinion. That's like my mom says, an opinion is like a booty hole. We all got one. That's just mine. I could be completely wrong. We also see kind of a little bit of discussion from Drew about her sister, and my heart goes out to her. We don't really see exactly what her sister's going through, and I say kudos to her for keeping that kind of private, or as private as she can, because when it comes to mental health, it's very, very important to sort of protect your loved ones and advocate for their interests and advocate for them to be okay. Then you have this event sponsored by why is her name slipping me? The girl boss who we talked about last time, who Kandi doesn't like that much. She kind of has a Becky voice. I'm sorry, I can't think of her name. They go to this paintball place, and Kandi and Marlo get into it about her nephew. We don't really have to go into that. I already told you what I think. I think that Marlo was looking for some genuine just connection on a sisterhood level. And Kandi is stoic. She's trying to keep those lines separated between personal and professional. And Marlo definitely could have been the one to say and be emotionally intelligent enough and say, okay, I get it. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to encroach on your privacy. I didn't mean to sort of place myself in between our friendship and your business, and I'll be there for you in the future, and I hope that you'll be there for me and to squash it. I feel like that's what Kandi needed, right? And what Marlo needed was, I'm here for you. She needed her to bring her, as Vicky Gunvalson says, she needed her to bring her a casserole. She needed to go out and do her nails with her, to just give her a shoulder to cry on. But Kandi really couldn't do that thing that Marlo needed, and Marlo couldn't really do that thing that Kandi needed. So, of course, it just exploded. And when Kandi gets mad, she's scary. She's really, really scary, and I think that she becomes really not self-aware. I think that's part of the reason why she doesn't drink, is because when she's really, really upset, it seems like she kind of loses herself a little bit. And so Maybe that's one of the reasons that she chooses not to drink so much, is because she probably really wants to stop herself from going from a dark place. And like I've said before, I think that Kandi is a good girl, kind of like masquerading as a bad girl. And maybe when she gets really upset, maybe that's what that masquerading is. It's like when she gets upset, that's when that bad girl comes out. And Kandi's so intelligent. She's talented. I wish that she would just, she probably, you know what? She probably could really do with mindful meditation. She might really, really, really benefit from that. She might benefit from mindful meditation or therapy. Like, therapy is really, really transformative. But hey, I don't know. She could be doing therapy on her own. I don't know. She feels like she needs to compartmentalize. I think that's what it is. I truly, in my heart, feel like Kandi goes off the rails because she really feels like in her mind she's got to separate business from Real Housewives, from Friends, and all that. And she can't make those lines bleed. Marlo, I think, is a genuine person. Marlo is a self-made woman, clearly, and she's come up out of, you know, some really difficult stuff, probably dealing with, you know, in her childhood, she probably didn't live like a princess. I mean, we can just clearly say that. We saw the episode with her mom, and I think oftentimes she is that girl who's searching for her girlfriends who will just build her up and be there for her. During this episode, Drew is... I think what Marlo said was she was barking around like a little, you know, poodle, like Kandi's little poodle. Sanya is kind of doing the same thing. Is it Sanya or Sanya? Sanya is kind of doing the same thing. So is Kenya. Sanya, Kenya, and Drew seem to all be doing that power broker thing where they're just like, oh, and there's like, I think her name is Monyetta. She's Neo's ex-wife. Monyetta, Shereé. I think it was actually just Monyetta and Shereé. They sort of support Marlo. And I think her name is maybe Courtney. Maybe it's Courtney is what it is the chick who Kandi didn't get along with. Well, it's like half of the group kind of comes to Marlo's aid and half of the group goes to Kandi's aid. That's usually how it goes. And, you know, Kandi's like, I'm out of here. She leaves the place, and I don't even think they ever even get to do the paintball thing. It's so unfortunate that all of this stuff is always getting in the way. I love Drew. You guys know that I love Drew, but I hope that Drew, throughout the season, doesn't continue to fall into that trap of just like, you know, sort of, you know, trying to brown nose whoever she thinks in the group has the most power, which at this point seems like Kandi. And there is this slow burning, I don't know, tension between Kandi and Shereé. You know, like Shereé talks about how Kandi has talked about it on her blog. And if you notice, Kandi and Shereé don't talk very much throughout the whole season. Even last season, they didn't really talk that much. So I definitely think this is like a battle of the OGs, a battle of who's going to be the alpha. And it just should not be that way. Like, just try and build women up. Why is it so hard? But anyway, I would love to know what you guys think. Let me know in the comments. If you're new here, please do me a favor. Hit the like and subscribe button. Hit the bell. That way you know whenever I post video. And I'll see you guys next time.